Yeah, welcome to Three Conservative Gimps. We've got a great show today. We'll be talking about the big elephant in the room, which is probably going to take up most of the show, is the raid on Mara Largo. So we'll be talking about, are we a banana republic? Are we? What's going on? Who started all this? How did we get here? So let's get going with the show. Also, I made a few additions to the show. I've got another sound effects bank. So if Lloyd makes a weird comment, I could do that, or if Adrian starts cursing again, we could go, or if it's a bad Lloyd joke, we could go, or if it's a joke that falls flat, something like that. So let's get the show going. Let's bring in my co-host all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma. It is Lloyd Mendenhall. Welcome, Lloyd.
Hello, Art. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Really liking my new job, and
Good.
it's looking like I might be permanent there. And if it does, then I may be moving up to Longmont, get a apartment
right.
that's a little closer to work, so I don't have to drive 30 miles a day.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Oh my goodness. Yeah. What
Actually,
a
it'd
week,
be
right?
60 miles round trip.
60 miles. Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, that would be nice, especially at the cost of gas right now. I don't care if it is coming down; it's still too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start putting in that many miles, it doesn't matter. You're losing money. You're that's taken out of your grocery allowance.
Yep, that's true.
So yeah. Boy, am I pale or what? I don't know what in the hell's going
Yeah,
on with
you are a little pale. You need
Yeah.
to put a little
Yeah.
more, you need to soften that color. Put a little more. There you go.
Yeah.
That's much better.
Yeah, but then I can't see anything else because it's. Let me see if I can. Did that fix it? Maybe that fixed it.
Might up your volume just a wee bit.
Okay, well, it shows I'm blasting on my side.
There we go. That's better.
But I'll crank it up a little bit. But
there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm getting reflection off of my monitor, and it's all these white panels on here just reflecting back. So
there you go.
yeah, I've got some new lights that I'm going to try to, like, in my front facing, or my umbrella that faces back is reflective foil.
Right.
And I've got some of these that I can control the temperature on with my phone.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I need to cool it down a little bit. It's a little hot right now, and I didn't do my white balance either, so it's but yeah.
Well,
it's been a hell of a week, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Very strange that the FBI would raid a former president.
You cannot call it a raid. It was a standard serving of a warrant. It was not a raid. They're not calling it a raid. At least not on MSNBC, PMSNBC, CNN, CBS, ABC, and all the other flakes out there. It was just a standard serving of a warrant.
Okay.
Only those right-wing conservative nuts are calling it a raid.
Yeah. Okay, we'll call it search and seizure.
Search and seizure, yeah.
Hey, we gotta welcome our other co-host, who's closer to the action, down in Gainesville, Florida, and I'll have my hand on the police siren button if he decides to get a little salty in his language. So let's welcome Adrian Mateo.
How's everybody doing?
We're
Hey, Adrian,
doing
how you doing,
good.
buddy?
First of all, what the hell? Oh, I disconnected it. I'm doing all right. Just here
Good, good, good.
thinking out loud, just being trying not to pay attention to the news as much, but the news is just, here. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
anytime you turn it on, it's never nothing good. It's always, the world coming to an end, Chicken Little, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. It's always some BS. And
yeah. It
now the main one that I've just been listening to the most that's really driving driving me nuts is that all these idiot liberals do all this type of bullcrap shenanigans and nobody says nothing. But the second our former president even spit, fart, scratch his ass, his hair, or even talk to anybody, the world coming to an end right then and there.
yeah,
Mhm. Yep.
And
yeah.
and with this search that they went ahead and did in his house here in Florida, by the way, why is it that nobody did nothing to Hillary, Harry Reid when he was there, Nancy Pelosi,
Mhm.
all the Clintons? Shit, the president now when he
Hunter,
was vice president back then, the
yeah.
Obamas
Hunter Biden.
say nothing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Still up to this day, 2022, about to be 2023, nobody has said nothing yet. But see, but this is the thing that kills me, Lloyd and Art, is that a lot of the time, even the Republicans will distance themselves from Trump just so they will stay in power. The
yeah,
Mhm.
coward, sorry sons of bitches. That's what they are to me.
Mhm. And
yeah,
a lot of them lost their primaries, and Lynn Cheney, she's about to lose her primary. I believe this Tuesday is her primary, so she is behind by 30 points in
Well,
the
I
polls
hope she
last night.
does lose, not just by 30, by a landslide, and get somebody in there with common sense. Because I mean, I know they got the common sense, but they like that power grab. They just want to stay in power.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as they stay in power, they get to make choices that hell, they don't care we like it or not. As long as their party is happy, they're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, and the thing with Cheney is she has been asking all of her people that support her to please go out and register as Republicans so that they can vote in the primary. And uh, and they said there has been a decrease in Democratic registrations and an increase of is a huge number of Republican
Mm-hmm.
registrations. Now, are those people that were independents and they chose to, they don't know. It's still a guessing game, but that's the kind of crap that they pull. And you're right, the Republicans, the first sign of a bad news, they're fair weather friends when it comes to certain things, and they'll
Yep.
just bail. But this time, this particular circumstance has ticked off so many people that it's really rallied the conservative movement. I mean, it's they were saying, as his daughter was saying the other day, he says their fundraising they've been their fundraising is shot through the ceiling. They've earned more now than they ever have in the past. So
But,
Right.
you know,
but think about it, Lloyd. Why is it that we gotta wait till it get to this point for them to rally behind him no matter what? Because if you think about it,
yeah,
Lloyd, anytime the liberals do something, they always back each other up. It
yeah,
doesn't matter if
yeah,
it's good or bad, it does not matter. Now, but when it comes to Republicans, anytime again, and there's proof out there,
oh yeah,
anytime the former president scratches his ass one way, use the right hand or the left hand, it doesn't matter. As long
yep,
as if, if it's gonna harm them in any kind of way, they will be, you know what? I don't know him right about now. I'll know him later
Mm-hmm.
on, but right now I don't want
yeah,
nothing to do with him. So please, pretty
yeah,
please, don't kick me out of my seat. Let me stay here.
yeah. For 4.5, 5 years, the Republicans, whenever they would run, they all they all said, well, we don't need you to come down here and rally for us. We're okay. Now all of a sudden, they're wanting him there, and it's like, yeah, he's
Yep.
picking the ones he wants to support, and those are the ones that are winning the primaries. And
Yep.
that's because I said this, I think, when you had Thaddeus on one time. I said, we've got to quit turning the other cheek and pretending we're just because
Right.
just because we're Christians doesn't mean we have to be uh, milk toast. We don't have to be lambs. There's nothing wrong with us going out and fighting for the cause, and that's something they haven't. The Republicans, it's just been too. It's and you're right, Adrian. Why did it take this long? I mean, that's the sad part of being about the Republican Party. It's and both parties depend on the independents.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of them can get elected on their own. They have to have the independent vote. So they're depending on how the wind is blowing, and like you said, whether he farted or burped, it just depends on how it works out of whether they're going to support him, and then they've got to go out there. Well, we can't do that because that might insult the independent voters.
Okay,
It's like
so basically, it goes right back to what I said earlier. It doesn't matter what it is. They're just gonna tell me what I want to hear to get in there. And once
yeah,
they get in there, it's like, you know what, Adrian, I did promise you I was gonna give you this, but let me. I'll try. I'll try next time, and I'll try next time. So next time
yeah,
I'll give it to
yeah,
you. Then that next time
yeah,
comes around, same thing all over again. Now, right now, a lot of people are saying, well, some people at my job who, again, they just so stuck up on the liberal BL. Well, Adrian, if you notice, gas is going down a lot. Well, what I mean, fool, I heard you bitching and complaining when Trump was there with $1 or something or $2 a gallon. You were bitching and complaining. Now we still up to 3, 4 something, and now you're saying
yeah.
things are better.
Yep.
Where do you live at? Are
Mm-hmm.
you on Earth or are you somewhere else? Because I just went to the grocery store, guys, to Winn Dixie, and I purchased 2 carton of eggs, a jug of a gallon of milk, 2 loaf of bread, and 2 thins of lunch meat. Lloyd, $65.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you?
I went the other day and bought a gallon of milk. Is like almost $5 a gallon for a gallon of milk.
And the thing is, Lloyd, I used to buy the same carton of eggs back in December, January, not too long ago, for $1.25.
Yeah, yeah,
And right
Mm-hmm.
now, the same carton of eggs cost me $5, 5.64 to be
yeah.
exact.
I know.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
The same
and
thing.
the only thing they see coming down is gas because that's you drive down the street and you see all these signs saying it's you see the price is dropping. They don't pay it, but then they go to the grocery store and they bitch and moan, but they say things are getting better because gas has come down. Well, that's only
Yeah,
going to last for so
yeah.
long.
Well,
Yeah.
And the reason it's
Yeah.
coming down has nothing to do with what this president done. It has to do with the fact that people quit driving because
Yep.
they couldn't afford to keep filling up their tanks. They couldn't
well,
afford.
Mm-hmm.
They're
well.
just
Mm-hmm.
Right now with
doing
this
them.
green, right now with this green energy boom shit that they're trying to shove down our throat, get the electric cars or whatever. There's this and that. Well, wait a minute, hold on. I looked at some prices of electric car. I looked at the one from Tesla. Kia has one. Toyota have one. Honda has one. I looked at every single one of them. The minimum you're gonna pay for one is gonna be up to 70, 80 grand. On
Yeah.
Yeah,
my property, Lloyd, I only owe 63 grand on 4.25 acres with a brand new house on it. Why would I buy a car that's more expensive than my fucking property?
Right.
well, that's it.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
but you get all these subsidies from the government.
Listen, I
Yeah,
understand. I understand all of that crap, art.
it's
But
taxes.
like I got into an argument with 2 of my managers the other day. The whole time Trump was there, this is all I heard in my ear every day, all day. But now that since this guy got in, I haven't heard a beep. As a matter of fact,
Yep.
I want to hit Friday. I want to hit and told both of them about it. I came to the office just to mess with it for a little bit. And I say, hey, how is Biden working out for you? Because I haven't heard you say nothing for a very long time. They're like, Adrian, get out of here. I say, no, I need you to tell me. Because when Trump was there, you kept buzzing in my ear about how he was messing things up. But with this one, is pretty much a 360-degree turn to the worst. I haven't heard you say nothing. So please enlighten me. Tell me something. Tell me something I want to hear. They didn't say a word. I say, you know what? I tell you what, I'm going to leave you because I'm not even going to call you an idiot because I'm actually going to give you too much credit. I'm going to call you a genius. Both of you are geniuses. Let me just walk away because obviously you don't have nothing else to say. I'm like, Mason Kaiser went ahead and said, Crooked Hillary and Hunter. Lloyd,
Yeah.
he had the president of the United States when he was vice president back in the days saying that if you do not get this prosecutor fired, we will not give you the money.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
All of this,
Lord, he's on video and he's on audio.
I know, and they have not done
and
anything.
He still got away with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he's a Democrat.
And don't forget, Hillary destroyed some cell phones that had some data, and she had her own private server that had classified documents and emails.
Yeah, she was using that server as her primary account to take everything off site so she could work on it at home. Well, you're not supposed to take that. Classified information is not supposed to be taken off site, period. End of conversation. But it's okay for her.
Remember, Lloyd, she went ahead and said, oops, I made a mistake. Too bad. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. But then again, if that was Trump, do you think they're going to lay off for a second? Do you think they're going to cut him a slack? Do you think they're going to be like, you know what, don't do it again. I'm going to let you pass. Don't do it again. No, it will be the same news over and over. How he's, and for example, when they raided his house recently.
Yeah.
They're talking about, listen, I don't know what the hell is going on, but if these folks knock on my door in that way, shit model from 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, Lloyd, somebody's gonna knock down my door. I'm not gonna ask you who it is.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna ask you who you are. Because around that time, you don't belong around my property. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing. The warrant specifically gave certain times of the day that they were supposed to be there, and they showed up before they were authorized, and they stayed until after they were authorized. And it's just like, and they grabbed and how many nuclear secrets were hidden in Melania's underwear drawer? I mean, really,
that's right.
And before I forget, guys, this is the kicker here. The president and Nancy Pelosi went ahead and said on national television and radio, well, we didn't know nothing about this raid that happened to the president, to Trump. We didn't know nothing about it. We actually heard about it in the news. You, the president. How the fuck do you know this?
Yeah, and the attorney general comes out and says he authorized it. Well, he reports directly to the president. There is no way in hell he's going to authorize something like this without letting the president know.
Exactly. The former president his house is being raided, and you're telling me you, the president, and you knew nothing. You actually found out on the news I can't believe that.
Yeah, and the House Intelligence Committee and the ones that deals with they had to be notified. There were people that had to be notified because, one, they were invading the home of a former president. That has never ever been done in the history of the United States. And this is just I was looking at J. Edgar Hoover was a cross-dresser, so I guess the FBI needed more women's clothes. Actually, my understanding was the reason they went in to get her panties, and they're right now, the attorney general is arguing to keep them, and Biden is asking to please send them to him because he likes to sniff stuff.
Yeah. Well, I want to make a point. This whole thing was to prevent Donald Trump from running again.
Yeah.
But they're saying that's not the reason why they did it.
Yep.
But of course, they're not going to tell you the truth. Or that's how they do it. And I keep saying.
And what sort of nuclear secrets did he have? I mean, what he didn't have launch codes because one, those were changed, and two,
Yeah.
they're not kept on a piece of paper in a file folder.
Well,
Mhm.
You know,
not just that, but if I'm not mistaken, Lord, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't every new president get their own launch codes?
yes, it
And,
is
and if
changed.
I'm not mistaken, if you're no longer the president, those codes are no longer active. This is we're
They're
talking
no,
about
yeah,
intelligence. Like, give me a break with the bullshit. Like, come
Mhm.
on.
yeah. I don't know, and what it is those networks, they're pandering to their viewers. You know, they've got, and even their viewers are getting fed up because this is, my God, this has been going on since he announced he was running for president, and it's just getting old. And I mean, good Lord, they've attacked him more than they did John Gotti, and they're going to start calling him the Teflon Don.
You know, now that you say that, I remember when they got him on tape when he was on that tour bus with that other idiot when he said, I like to, hey, I'm a man. I like to kiss some women against their will and,
Yeah, yeah.
grab the little woo-ha. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. The last time I checked, I know a lot of men, including myself. I like to brag a little bit sometimes about women.
Ooh.
Hey,
Oh yeah, I
we
mean,
all
look at
done it.
some of our shows. Yeah, so look at some of our shows. We kind of got, and oh, is that your little one?
Yeah, that's the
Yep.
tiny little one. This is the Hellraiser.
Ah, well,
This.
she's a cutie.
Oh, no, is it not
I
that?
have that effect. I have that effect on a lot of kids. They see me and they start crying.
No, she is actually her nap. It's her nap time.
Oh,
See,
there you go, Lloyd.
She
I
just
do it.
she's
She's
just
fighting
That's
sleep.
why he's the grumpy vlogger.
That's right.
well, I'm gonna have to put it because now she took over your name, the grumpy vlogger. That's her name.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So I would
Call
like
her
to,
little grumpy.
yeah, I would like to stay for the whole show because I had a lot more to go, but I gotta put her to bed. And you guys probably gonna jump it in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna try
yeah.
my best to get away before that. If I don't make it, great seeing you guys again. Everybody in the chat, see
Hey,
you later.
it's
All
always
right.
good seeing
Take
you,
care.
Adrian.
By
Good
the way,
night,
Lloyd.
sweetie.
By the way,
Goodbye,
Lloyd.
sweetheart. Bye bye. Yeah.
Lloyd, Art, everybody in the chat. I do not care what anybody else says. If you read the name that I actually put down there for me, Trump
Yep.
2024, no more bullshit. Just get it done.
That's right. I agree. I agree.
All right.
All right. You take care, Adrian. Bye bye.
Take care, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That was. This whole thing has been
I know. I
a
just
Charlie Foxtrot.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It has been
Yeah.
a total cluster.
I just shake my head this whole week. I'm like, what the hell?
Well,
What's going on? I mean,
what was funny is, I on this because this happened after. I mean, it
you're a
broke
little
after
hot,
my.
Lloyd.
Okay, well,
Now you're a little hot.
all right. How about now? I have to move that
Better.
away a little
That's
bit. There we go. All right. I thought I was running a little hot. It depends on
yeah.
how close
I
I
think
lean to
you're
that.
getting a little angry.
Oh, I'm frustrated as hell. But this broke right after my show Monday because I always before my show I always go through and check on YouTube and there was nothing up there, no news that I saw. And then after the show, uh, just after my show was over, my cousin texted me and says we live in a banana republic. I'm going, what the hell is
Yep.
he going on about? And I didn't think anything about it. And then I said, well, I'm up. He said, so he called me and he says, did you hear? And I said, no, what? He says, they raided his home. I said, they did what? And
Yep.
it's like, because I'd have been raising hell Monday night if it had, if this had happened on
Right.
my before my show. And like I said, you didn't bring it up, so and nobody brought it up in the chat, so
No,
it
I didn't hear about it until the next morning. I'm like, going,
something
what?
else. That guy that attacked the FBI office in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And they had that 6-hour standoff and a 1-hour police chase. The next day, I couldn't find that anywhere. I finally found the story. Fox pulled it off of their site, and I you just it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. By Wednesday, it was nowhere to be found except on my local Fox television station. They had the story there with
Right.
an update on it. But, you know, they didn't have, they've not been showing the guy's face. They've not been talking about him. Supposedly, this guy was there on January 6th. Gave a number. I can't remember the number of people,
Yeah.
but it's how many people that have been. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's people are getting tired. You know,
Mhm.
they're just, come on.
Mm.
They're just getting tired. Now, prior to this, I wasn't really sure I wanted Donald Trump to run for president, you know.
Yeah.
And
Same.
is it as it is right now, even if he were to run and he were to get elected, he's a lame duck president right from the
Yep.
start because
Mhm.
and they'll just what we have to have is if he doesn't run or if even if he does, he better pick a really good vice presidential candidate that can pull in the votes because that's where Bush screwed up
Mhm.
by picking, you know, Dick Cheney is a vice president, and I've always been mad about that. Cheney should have never been our vice president. He was hired by Bush to vet his nominee for vice president. And instead, he says, well, you know, there's a lot of good guys out there, but I'm best for the job. So, well, you know,
But how
your
many
daddy owes
terms
me
did Bush have?
2. He had 2 terms. But Cheney couldn't run for president. He was too damned
No.
old. And,
That's,
you know, that's what I'm
wait
saying.
a minute. Look at our current president.
Well, I know, but Dick Cheney didn't need to be run. Dick Cheney wouldn't have been able to pull in any votes anyways.
Well, you know what? He could be our first Borg president, you know, with the cybernetic implants in
Yeah,
him.
there you
Keep
go.
him
Yeah.
alive, you know. You know, he did get a heart transplant.
Right. And this is the thing, you know, when I say if Trump runs in 2024, which I suspect now that he's going to, I don't think he had made the decision yet, but he was just teasing at it because, hey, that's a good buildup. It focuses on the Republican Party, and they're like, if he was so disliked as president that if he suddenly pushes it, he's going to run, he's going to run, he's going to run. Anybody else to the independents and even some of the Dixiecrats and the liberals, any of those will say, "Oh my God, I'd take DeSantis and Cruz over Trump." Boom, I'm supporting DeSantis. He's going to be the president, you know. And yeah, it makes the others, and it also weeds out the the dead wood. You don't have all
Right.
these. You don't have 25 or 30 people
Like
jumping in there.
Marco Rubio and
Right. You know, a lot of the dead wood that doesn't need
Jeb
to be
Bush.
running. Jeb Bush, yeah. And
I,
so I think that's what his game plan was, but I think now because of this,
Mhm.
you know, Donald Trump's the kind of guy you don't say you can't. You
Mhm.
can't run for president. We're going to stop you because he's going to prove to the best of his ability that yes, I can.
But the only fly in the ointment, and I stand by this, is I think Jared Polis is going to be the nominee in 24 for the Democrats.
For the Democrats?
Because he's going to position himself as,
Well,
I'm a moderate. When I was governor of Colorado, I gave everybody $750 check.
But here's the thing,
he's
Art.
lying because that part of Tabor, we were due that money. But no, the Democrats had to, have a committee and say, well, we'll give them the money before the election instead of in January.
Here's the thing: Paulus doesn't have the kind of name recognition outside of Colorado. You guys know who he is. I have never heard of him until I started talking with you, and I still don't see his name in the news here or nationally.
You keep an eye out. I think in the next year or two, I think things are going to change, and you're going to hear his name quite a bit. Either as president or maybe vice president.
Yeah, and now because, but like I said, he doesn't. We're talking. We got the Republican Party's already trying to line up for the next election in 24, and he's there. You go, Chris. Like I said, you have to remember nationally in Colorado, he's a big deal. I understand that. It's like Mike Steiner was a big deal here. Now Mike Steiner was known a little bit, but I don't know if Mike Steiner was known outside of uh uh uh
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Yeah, I couldn't remember what state I was in. So just because they've done a lot on the national stage, but they're not known. In other words, they went to Congress, they did a lot of this, they went to the Senate, did this, but they're not in that top tier category. They're not in the, they're not with the Pelosi's, they're not with Booty Butt or whatever the hell his name is.
Buttigieg?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
What a stupid ass name. He's a stupid ass
Oh,
person.
remember there was a guy from Arkansas nobody heard of.
That's true. That's true. That was and to be honest with you, that was a throw. I have said, and it's my belief that Democrats are really good about this. They have what they call throwaway candidates. In other words, they know they can't beat because you got to remember, they were just coming off of Reagan, and then you had the vice president who's now president, and they thought he was going to, in all likelihood, he was going to win again. So why put up one of their top tier players against somebody that they couldn't beat? So what did they do? They put him up there, and oh shit, he won. This hillbilly from Arkansas won, and it's been a pain in their ass ever since. Just like Biden was a throwaway. He was a vice president, so he had national name recognition, but he was still a throwaway because they didn't really think that they could beat Trump, even with all the crooked shenanigans they pulled off. And they finally realized they had a chance to beat him, maybe, if they played this right, because of the COVID virus and all the what that did. That was the only thing they had going for them.
Yeah, that was a perfect storm for the Democrats, and Trump really came off poorly because it made him look like he didn't really care.
Yeah, but by the time all that happened, they'd already nominated Biden, because any of the other top contenders in the Democratic Party, they didn't want to put up there because they knew that even if Biden ran, he was only, if they by chance won, they could manipulate their, and that was an Obama thing. He says, I can run this guy. I got the, I'm a great marionette artist. I can do it real well. So, but yeah. And so now they were scared that, and I honestly think Trump was going to hold off until after the primaries to announce whether he was or he wasn't, because that keeps the dead wood out of the election. Because, well, if Trump's running, there's no way in hell I'm going to waste my money and time running against somebody I can't beat for the nomination, and but it's just like, and I mean that's what I thought was going to happen. Well, then this happened, and it solidified his base, and it rallied his base, because even his base was starting to, Trump again. We love him, we support him, we were 100% behind him, we voted for him, and if he runs again, we'll vote for him. But it's so divisive. It's so divisive. But then the Democrats pull, the administration pulled this shit, and it's like, oh, hell no. This ain't happening,
I think
and all of a sudden
this whole thing backfired on the Democrats. I mean, but they were so focused on trying to prevent Trump from running for president. They thought, you know what? We'll raid his home, and we'll look at this. We got secret nuclear documents. We
Now,
could get him on espionage, maybe
now
even treason.
here's the other thing. What you got to remember: the president of the United States is the only person who can declassify information.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the nuclear uh, uh,
Codes.
papers, yeah,
Yeah.
well, not the codes. This has nothing to do with codes. Those codes are not in that. Those codes, those
Oh,
launch
this is
codes.
probably where the nuclear warheads are deployed, where they're
I don't think it's
located.
even that. I don't even think it's that. It might
Mm-hmm.
show where they were deployed 25 years ago, but the Department of Energy has to declassify those. And when I heard that, that makes me think this has more to do with our nuclear power plants, which in infrastructure could be attacked by the bad guys. Well, they know where the hell they're at. And
Mm-hmm.
as he said, he says these were all declassified. Just because they weren't taken out of the folder, there's a list somewhere of all the stuff he declassified. And here's the other thing is Obama took scads of stuff with him that he's never returned. It's
Yep.
supposed to be going into his presidential library.
Yep.
And the guy that did this is he's the archivist, the librarian of the National Archive, who's a Democrat and Obama supporter, who's donated to Obama and donated to Biden, and he's an Obama appointee. And this is all about just getting this stuff back. And the other thing is they had this warrant for 3 days before they ever enacted it. If these were top secret, highly classified, for your eyes only nuclear stuff, why didn't they go the moment they had it? Because I guarantee you, when they get a warrant on anything local, they're going to enact it as soon as possible. And not only
Mm-hmm.
that, there was a date of when all the way till I think the 19th of August. They had up
Mm-hmm.
through the 19th of August to enact. Well, a judge, if these were like, the affidavit says, hey, these are nuclear launch codes, and oh hell, it's got to be done in the next 4 days. It's got to be done in the not. You can wait until Why would a judge say with nuclear stuff? Why would he say that's okay to wait until the 19th of August? We're not worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not if it was what they're saying it is. That's
Yeah.
that's where you look at what the warrant says and you listen to what they're saying, and it doesn't match.
And the other thing you gotta think about is maybe he's got the numbers of how many warheads we have, which we don't want our enemies to really know about.
Yeah,
Because then they could say, well, wait a minute. We had this agreement. You were supposed to destroy those nuclear warheads a long time
yeah,
ago. Or
yeah.
why are
Well,
you building new warheads? You know?
yeah, and here's the thing. It's just like Hillary also took for Bill Clinton actually took the presidential seal off the podium when he left the White House, and he had to return it,
Yep.
as well as the China.
Yep.
He took, I think,
Oh, and how about all the W's they took off the keyboards of the.
yeah, 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 exactly. They took all the keyboards off the W's, yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. That's just, but uh,
Yeah. Just, that's
this
high
that
school
was just
shit.
that. Well, and that's it was probably meant that way. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
meant we're taking all the W's off the keyboard. He ought to really like that. He'll get a kick out of that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
took all the W's off the keyboard, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's that was a piss poor version of Bill Clinton. But that's best. I can't do it now. Sometimes I can slip into. Sometimes I can't. Anyway,
Oh, Rush Limbaugh did a really good Bill
yeah,
Clinton.
he did. He did a real good
He,
Bill Clinton.
and he
Uh,
didn't do his Obama wasn't too bad either.
wasn't too bad. Rush Limbaugh was really talented in voices.
Yes, he was.
He was he was a radio guy, so that's why.
Yep.
You know, look at
Ken Harris.
thank you, God. Brain
I'm
is
like,
not engaging.
I could read his mind. Ooh.
Yeah. Well, it's not much to read there. It's pretty empty right now.
Yeah.
Because, it's a short story.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But we're going to have to get off here. I'm going to have another cigarette to clear out my lungs. But anyways, yeah. This is the biggest crock of bull crap I have ever heard. And I mean, is there? We have always, even Bill Clinton. If Bill Clinton were to pull up in a limousine right now, I would go out. I'd salute him as a veteran. He's a former commander in chief. I would shake his hand. I would say, I don't agree with a damn thing you did, but you are my president. If Joe Biden pulled up in front of my house right now, I'd go out and offer him an iced tea and tell him he needed to go around no, that guy lives down the block.
Yeah, there you go.
But I wouldn't disrespect him because, I respect my elders, and he's even elder than me.
Well, and that's the difference between Republicans and Democrats is generally Republicans, we don't think of the opposition as evil people.
No.
But liberals, it just seems like in the last 20, 25 years, there's been a change where liberals actually see anybody that doesn't think the way they do as there's something wrong with you. You must be evil.
Yeah,
you must be demented or something. Or just
And this goes. I'm sorry, but I don't. I didn't like the way Andrew McCarthy did. Is it Andrew McCarthy? No, not Andrew. Senator McCarthy. Anyway, I can't remember his name. Andrew McCarthy.
Yeah, Joe. His name is Joe.
Joe. That's right. Yeah, I should have figured Joe. I remember now. But anyway, I didn't agree with what he did, and I didn't necessarily support the way they did things. But on the other hand, there was something there. He was right. That's what it comes down to. Look at how far left the liberals are now. I just watched the thing being the Ricardos, and it talked about when Lucille Ball was, there was actually two versions. There was a documentary about Lucy and Ricky, and they were taken off of some audio tapes that Lucy Arnaz found after they were both gone. And then there was the docu-movie or whatever they call those now. Is
drama or whatever.
Yeah, well, it was set up as a documentary, but it had actors playing the part of Ricky and Desi. Ricky
and
Lucy and Desi.
Ball, she was investigating.
Well, that's what they talk about. Her grandfather, who she was raised by, was a socialist. He was, he came from the late 1800s, early 1900s when he got political, and he supported the Socialist and the Communist Party. You got to remember, in the before World War I, the Communist was for the people. The Socialist was for the people, and then they took over Russia and killed the Tsar, and a lot of that changed for people. They thought, they killed his kids. Really, this isn't what we're supporting. We're supporting, and these come out of the labor movements, the labor unions, and that's where this all started. And so her grandfather was a communist socialist, and he supported people like Eugene V. Debs.
Yeah.
I'll come back to him in a minute. So when she's, out of respect to her grandfather, she checked that box when she registered to vote. She checked the box, and she didn't think any more about it. She'd never been to a meeting, didn't even know who the hell they were. She just checked it, and it was Grandpa was, and so I guess I should be too. He never went to meetings. He never, he was just supported the labor unions, and that's what their party was for the most part, was the Communist and or Socialist Party. And so she got hammered on that, but she came out, and of course, the story that initially she said was that that she checked it by accident. I was young, naive, didn't know what I was doing. I just checked it. I wasn't even paying attention. I was just trying to get through it and sign my name and get it over with. And then, so they cleared her of that. J. Edgar Hoover, actually, they called J. Edgar Hoover live on the show before the show started, and they recorded it, in which he says she has been completely cleared and exonerated because, when the news hit, it was about to destroy their show, and Desi Arnaz was such a great producer and understood the business side of things. He actually called J. Edgar Hoover personally on the phone, live on television, and that cleared it. Once J. Edgar said it, it was good to go.
Yeah.
But
well,
now
with what with all the shenanigans going on this week, it got me thinking. Wonder if those idiots have a file on me. They haven't. They might have a file on you. I mean, who knows?
Well, they've got a file on me. I already know they've got one on me.
Well, yeah, you're ex-military.
Plus my security clearance. So I mean, and they were doing follow-ups for up to. I know they did follow-ups on me 5 years after I was out, and then 10 years after I was out. So, and occasionally I'll see one of their guys out there, and I'll say, "What's going on?" Well, but yeah, so there's a file on me, but I'm not worried about it because there's nothing in it to, and they can pretty much hear what I have to say and see what I have to say by watching watching these shows. So
I'm a former candidate for state house and state senate, so I probably popped up on their radar, and then I did a little terrestrial radio on the 5,000 watt Bic lighter KCKK or KK. Anyway, it was a tiny station. I was actually I started off as a guest on that show, and the guy that brought me on took a liking to me and started bringing me back every week, and I started bringing in these candidates in on the show, and then I eventually became a producer of the show. I was the one that was bringing the talent in, and this guy up and quit without telling me. I showed up at the station, they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but Marcus doesn't work here anymore."
Wow.
And then he tried to get me, he got me to be his campaign manager when he ran for mayor of Denver. And I said, "Well, Marcus, you're going to have to, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to need to petition to get on the ballot." He did none of this shit. And then he goes to, what was it, one of those forums where all the candidates were there, and I was sick as a dog, and I spoke for a few minutes, and it was just, I just watched him, and I'm like, "Oh, man, this is going to be a shit show." And then I got fired after that. And then he started, bad mouthing me, so.
Right.
Kind of like someone else we know.
Yeah. I mean, but when you look back, I was going to bring up Eugene Debs because they mentioned him the other day about running for president if you've been indicted. Eugene Victor Debs was a socialist. He was the American. I don't know. He was the American Socialist Party, the American Workers' Party, or something like that. Yep. And he ran 5 times for president.
Yep.
The last time he ran, he pulled in close to 1/3 of the electoral votes. And he was in prison when he did it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my grandfather, who was a lot like Lucy's grandfather, supported the workers' unions and the people of the workers' unions. And he was a big supporter of Eugene V. Debs. Now, my grandfather was born in 1876, so that gives you an idea. So he was around
Colorado became a state.
Yeah, but he wasn't born in Colorado. He was born over in Missouri. But this is
We
my
won't
dad's dad.
hold it against him.
Yeah, yeah. Even my grandfather is buried there at Fort Logan Cemetery. He was born in Kentucky, Brea County, Kentucky. But anyways, my grandfather, when my dad was born, he'd had one boy before and he died. But when my dad, who was the oldest boy, when he was born, he gave him the name of Wilburn Debs Mendenhall.
Oh.
So, in honor of Eugene Victor Debs. And so when I was born, my mother wanted to call me Junior or something like that. My dad says that name is too damn long, so I got the name Lloyd Debs. I'm named after Eugene Victor Debs, who ran for president. And the fifth time he pulled off a really nice chunk of the and he did it from prison. So apparently there wasn't a law against running for president while you're in prison, because he was in prison and he still managed to pull quite a few votes.
Well, and also here's a name you probably remember: Adlai Stevenson.
Oh yeah. Stevenson
Adlai,
beat Truman.
Yep, and no, that was Dewey.
Again. Oh, that was Dewey. That's right. Stevenson ran against. Yeah, I know.
He ran against Eisenhower, I believe.
Eisenhower.
And I think, yeah, he ran and his father ran a bunch of times. There were two Adlai Stevenson, and one of them, the younger, he became ambassador to UN.
Yes.
And what was the famous saying that he made?
Hell, I don't remember. I can barely remember what I had for supper yesterday. It's a famous
quote. He says, I know you understand. Don't wait for the translation. Because it was during the I think it was the Gary Powers affair.
Yes,
because,
The
Russian ambassador.
The Russian ambassador, was that's when they were trying to get Gary Powers back.
Oh God, Andre. I forgot his name.
Yeah, and wasn't Powers? He was shot down out. Wasn't that out of the U-2 that he was flying?
Yep, he was flying U-2 and shot down over Russia.
Yeah. When I first, they still had U-2s at Davis-Monthan when I first got there, and those were cool to watch land
them right now.
Oh yeah. And but they had a squadron there then, and there was one area we weren't at end of runway. There was an area cordoned off, so if we weren't part of their crew, we weren't allowed to be there when they came in. So we had to pull back and sit in a waiting area while the U-2s came in, and then they towed them over to an area that was well lit and secured, and they do whatever it was they did. And I remember
all the camera, the film, and everything.
Right, and the pilots got out and they looked like they were wearing spacesuits. I mean, that was just
they were flying at about 60,000 feet.
1,000 feet, yeah. That was so awesome to see. Because I always came in on night shift, and I was on night shift at the time, and that was really a neat thing to watch those U-2s come in, because those U-2s.
Did you ever see any SR-71?
I did. I got into a little bit of
those could go even higher. They could reach up to 85,000, 90,000 feet.
Yes. I got into a little bit of difficulty when we had one land at Davis-Monthan, because we were working the end of the runway, and they taxied it over to another area, and I said, let's go up and look at it. And we did. And they didn't like it. And fortunately, I knew some people, and the guys in charge of security were friends of mine, so we got to see up close and personal, and they escorted me then. But boy, when we first approached, they were just like, you get out, and all of a sudden you hear this, and you know that they've just jacked around into an M16, and you're sitting there going, oh, yeah. And
Well, I saw one at Offutt
right,
Air Force Base. There's a
yeah,
museum there.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I saw another one at Wright-Patterson Air
right,
Force
yeah,
Museum. And
yeah, yeah,
that's where the S1-E20 is located.
yes, yeah, yeah. See, the thing was when I was this was the reason we got in so much trouble is because this SR-71 was still it had dropped in, it had stopped there, and I don't know why it stopped at Davis Monthan. We just got the call that they were coming in, and I'm telling
Mm-hmm.
you, that thing moves at such high speed, and at such a high altitude. They have what they do the down leg run, and then they do the final approach. Okay, that thing when it came into Davis Monthan, it flew out and it kept flying west. And we were in Tucson, Arizona, and west of Tucson, you eventually going to hit the ocean. Well, they were going at such high speeds to burn down. They had to loop a couple of times to start burning their speed down. To get their speed to start dropping. And they actually literally flew out to the Pacific Ocean to make their final approach turn. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, can you imagine a plane that flies clear out to the Pacific Ocean from where you're at in the middle of the desert
Yep.
in Arizona to turn around and make the final down leg run? So yeah, that was, and boy, when it came, when it did the first flyby, you just heard that boom, and I mean it shook the whole friggin' base because he
Yep.
did it low.
Well,
He
and
did
they're
it low
flying at
enough.
Mach 3.
Yeah, exactly. And you just like it was. Uh, let's see, Felicia Hobson, a known felon, was
Oh,
elected as a
yes.
county freeholder after known information was found that she charged and convicted cashing fraudulent checks. She was reinstalled in 2021. Yeah. Oh, we had a governor here that was convicted of a felony while he was in office, and he was never removed. And he was convicted of a felony uh, had to do
Bribery.
with his that had to do with his campaign finance. It was
Oh,
campaign
yes,
finance
that's right.
fraud, and
Mm-hmm.
they convicted him. And the only punishment he got is because in Oklahoma they can keep their war chest. They can use it to pay off any bills related to their
Right.
office and or
Mm-hmm.
well they took his war chest from him, so he lost all that money. And he had the audacity to try 8 years later to run again.
Hey, Brent. Glad to see you finally make it now that we're closing out the show here.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. We've actually gone over
I
a
want to
little
say
bit. So.
hello to everybody. I didn't say hello to everybody in the chat. I forgot. Sorry, folks. Mickey McH, Mike B, Mason Kaiser, Chris Wedgeworth, and did I see? No, Steve Carpenter didn't show up.
No, he didn't make it.
Nope.
Yeah.
So he'll
No, he.
probably want. Oh, you know who our newest subscriber is?
Who?
Dominic,
Ah,
Northeast. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Because we talked a little bit about that after our show after my show on Monday. Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
He did say
All
because
right.
he's like us. He's like minded.
Yes, he is. So, everybody in the chat, thank you for coming. Hope you enjoyed our discussion. You have a great weekend, and God bless you, and we'll catch you next week. Bye
All
bye.
right, y'all take care. Bye bye.